The Orange Zone, sponsored by Apex Entertainment.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Orange Zone podcast. That's Ashley Wenskoski. I'm Samantha Croston, and we have James Mungro, former SU running back and Super Bowl champion, with us today as well. We are here to talk about the UConn recap. We are looking ahead to Colgate football. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. How you feeling after last week?
I'm feeling like how everyone else is feeling. It was a shitty game. What do you say about it? I mean, it's going to be a long season, I think, unfortunately.
What were some of your takeaways when you watched that UConn game, at least early on when they fell into the hole, right? Because it's like a win's a win, but I think this is the most it's the win that everybody feels like the worst possible about, right?
Well, first and foremost, let's give credit to UConn's coaching staff. They've been knocking on the door for a while now against Syracuse, and they almost pulled it off. With saying that, Syracuse came back and won the game. So it's great that we got a W, but the fashion of how we got it was not good at all, by no means. The offensive linemen, they got to step their game up. They got to get things organized a lot better. The running backs, I mean, right now, yes, we won the game. That's the positive thing, but as a whole, we're not looking good.
Yeah, and the offensive line, I think, is sort of an underrated issue through these first two games, right? Because I think it was 5 or 6 sacks against Tennessee. I think Steve got hit 3 sacks in the UConn game and like 6 broken up passes. Yes. And Fran even mentioned that in his weekly press conference yesterday. He said, like, Steve's getting crushed back there. Steve's getting killed.
Crush is an understatement. He got hit so hard when he was trying to throw the ball on the goal line that time.
Yeah.
It was like, that's how you get your quarterback hurt. For the whole season. He got up gingerly, but again, these guys, these young men, I don't know what's going on in college football these days. I mean, they'd rather have nice big jewelry chains on the sidelines, jumping around and stuff like that. Focus on the game, win games, then accomplish something that before you buy all this jewelry and all this crazy stuff. It's getting out of hand a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting point. It's well said. Well, listen, no matter how you felt about the UConn game, one thing that sort of went viral afterwards was this moment we've discussed a couple times on this mic since then, which is that Fran Brown, right after the game, had his players running sprints. And afterwards, he was ultimately saying that it was an accountability thing. He noted guys not running to the ball as the reason for the punishment. If you actually watch the video, I wouldn't call it a sprint.
They were jogs.
They were jogs.
They were jogs.
Is that because some of these guys are totally gassed or hurting? Probably. As for the other 60, 70 dudes that didn't play, not sure what the excuse is there. But that was sort of the vibe. It went viral. And then there were really a couple different opinions about it, ranging from this is the kind of toughness Syracuse football needs to this was performative and not so genuine. Where did you fall on that continuum?
I think, with that whole thing, I think Fran has a certain standard. He came from Georgia, and that standard is very high. And last year, he was very successful in the different plays we ran, everything like that, and very successful with Kyle. This year is totally different. So I think he's just trying to show the team and the fans that he's responsible for this, and he's going to keep this on his shoulders, and he wants his team to be one way. And right now the team is not believing in that way, and so therefore he has to do other, drastic measures by wind sprints after the game. They should have ran after the game. I mean, the way they play, they had some more in them. But again, he's just showing his commitment to the team and the community that he's all for one thing, and that's to win games and teach these players the right way to play football and be great people of playing football. So I had nothing wrong with that at all, by no means.
Yeah, I think the response to the sprints was interesting. I think obviously we all know Fran here and know that his intentions are genuine and know that accountability is such a big part of it. I don't think everybody had that same perception in terms of a national scope, but he even had the players, right? Dan Villari said post-game, like, I agree with them. And Fran also clarified that they were going to run those sprints, win, lose, or draw, is what he said. Like, they won the game.
They weren't sprints either. They were jogging up the next jog. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like there was a full sprint. So, some people's going to take that out of context, but in reality is the players need to get in better shape. The players need to play a lot harder, in order to win these games coming up soon.
And I think to your broader point, it's going to be interesting to see how, like, Fran declined to answer yesterday. Somebody did ask in the press conference whether the sprints were going to become a regular practice if we don't play well here. He didn't answer that. He just kept saying, I'm focused on Colgate. But your broader point, it's going to be interesting to see how Fran and this coaching staff deals with what looks like it's going to be a pretty large amount of adversity this year, right?
Yeah, I think there is, but the nicest thing about it is that all the adversity they had, they were able to win the game. And the fashion of winning was not good by no means, but the players got to be accountable, and Fran's going to hold everybody accountable, and rightfully so. Maybe some of the coaches should run wind sprints too as well next time. But that's my opinion.
I have two honest questions on this whole thing for both of you, because I think that it is important that we think about the other side for a second, or people who may not know Fran Brown. What was the purpose of making them run sprints after the game at home on Saturday as opposed to just running them Monday morning at practice? What difference would that have really made?
I think it's the commitment of showing the fans that he's doing. This is business. This is business, and we want to be a top team, and this is how we're going to get this top team to make it to the top. And showing his commitment to his players and showing the commitment to the fans, like I said, of doing that in front of everybody. And
if that's true, then that means he was trying to make a statement to someone. Let's be fair.
I agree with Mungro and with both of you that I think it was a message to the players. I believe him when, win, lose, or draw, whatever. But I do think that he meant to make a statement in some capacity,
yes.
Whether it was to the Syracuse fans at the Dome, whether it was to the surrounding Syracuse community, whether it was nationally, which is what it became. I think that he knew people were going to see those sprints, right? Like, he could have done it privately in practice on Monday morning, like you said. He knew that the sprints were going to be seen, talked about, analyzed, and discussed.
I'm just sitting here to say I don't think he hates the national spotlight. That's not me saying that it was performative at all. I'm saying that message was not just meant for the Syracuse football players.
And listen, something that we've seen firsthand probably more than most is, like, Fran Brown knows how to go viral. This is Syracuse football, and in a year and a half here, we can just go over all the viral, so to speak, moments that have gotten picked up by platforms like Bleacher Report, sometimes Barstool, On3, college football reporting sites, right? Fran knows how to get attention in terms of things he wants to get attention. I don't know if he was thinking that before those sprints. Honestly, I doubt that level crossed his mind. But he did want to send a message to at least the fans at the Dome, right?
Yeah, I think just in general, he was very pissed. He was pissed off at how the game started, was happy at the end when we got the W, but throughout the whole thing, the game shouldn't have been close. But again, UConn, you got to give them credit. They came out and they played very hard, and they were taking it to us. Let's be honest, they were taking it to us, and we were just able to slip through and find a way to win, to get a W. And that W is going to be very big for us, because I don't know how many more W's we're going to get this year.
Yeah, and I think one thing, if you do want to leave off with a bit of an encouraging note from the whole UConn debacle, was you keep saying they did find a way to pull out the win. That was largely because of the offense and Steve Angeli finally clicking in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter and then in overtime. Something clicked there, at least with Angeli and with the way he was looking at the offense, that was positive, right? The 2-minute drill, the up-tempo offense, those were all good signs. I actually think that sometimes earlier in that game, I was thinking that Syracuse was taking too long to get the offensive plays off. We saw some penalties, some delay of games. I think Syracuse does a better job both this year and last under Jeff Nixon when they do run a more up-tempo offense, when things go faster, when they're doing that 2-minute drill. They seem to be more successful.
Right. And I guess that leads me to my next question in a way, which is, I understand that Fran Brown said that they were running after the game because guys weren't running to the ball. To me, it seemed like an effort thing more than anything.
Yeah.
But what happens in those games where effort really is given and they still just lose? My point is Fran Brown every week going to be like, we're just not giving enough effort, or are they actually just not as good as they were last year?
Well,
and is that okay?
I think that's obvious, though. They're not as good as they were last year. I think that's very, very obviously. But
what if they're not that good at all?
And they have one of the hardest schedules in the country.
It's going to get tougher. And I just think that it's going to be a long season. We have to stay patient. It's not the same team. Every year is a new team, and people got to realize that when you lose players, it's always going to be a new team, especially now with the transfer. It's tough. It's going to be tough for the coaches, because you're trying to have these guys buy in, and then next year they could be gone.
Yep.
And then you have new guys you got to try to buy in. So it's a recycle, just a circle that just keeps going back and back and back and just going back and forth, and it's just it's going to be tough for the coaches. That's something they have to deal with. But I do think that Fran is the right guy, just because of the first game, now this game. We have Colgate coming up next, and hopefully we can put some good numbers on Colgate.
And it's worth pointing out, not to defend the situation, I said prior to the start of this season that I think we're going to learn a lot about Fran and his coaching style, Jeff Nixon, E-Rob, like all of their actual coaching style and the adjustments that they can make to a team that maybe doesn't have the talent level that they had last year. But it's a young team. Fran says that every single week, right? We have freshmen and sophomores out there in starting spots. Fran is trying to teach these guys each and every week, like literally how to play college football, both on and off the field, right?
But yes, but one thing you cannot teach is effort.
Definitely.
That's one thing you can't teach is effort.
And that's why they ran.
Yes.
One thing I will say that was interesting from the press conference this week is when someone was asking about how do you think, the culture is right now as far as Dart. He said, you could tell from the game against UConn that our team is relentless and tough. He's like, the places where we need work are in the details and in accountability. So at least you know that he has absolutely identified the D and the A are the issue here.
The beginning of the acronym is the problem.
We got to work on that.
Yeah.
But I think against Colgate, interesting opportunity to prove that you can be an accountable team and probably more importantly, a disciplined team. I think against a team that is a weaker opponent, you really have the opportunity to either play your best football or play down to the level of who you're facing. And I'll tell you what strikes me right off the bat about Colgate. Obviously, as many of you know, and for those of you who don't, their new first-year head coach is Curt Fitzpatrick, who was a proven winner at Cortland, including a national championship win. He's 0-2.
Yeah.
And Fran is 1-1 right now. And neither of them are really used to losing at all.
Yeah. Colgate, for all of the hoopla and circumstance around them hiring Curt Fitzpatrick, they are 0-2. They lost to Monmouth and Villanova. And that Monmouth game, I was sort of in week 1, I was monitoring. And they were up by 3 touchdowns. It was 21 to, they lost.
It was 31-7.
31-7. They lost 42-39. That was, I do not know the specifics of what went on there. I did not analyze the tape, but something got ugly in that week 1 loss. I think that obviously Fitzpatrick is adjusting to the Division I level, even if it is FCS Patriot League play. They haven't even gotten into Patriot League play. But yeah, you're right. Both of these coaches are sort of adjusting to a new, I guess, style of team that they're not particularly used to coaching this year. Fran mentioned something really interesting in his press conference yesterday, which is that he spoke with Fitzpatrick about hiring him to the SU staff before he took the job at Colgate. Obviously, Fitzpatrick is a Fulton native. He is from the area. He said he grew up a Syracuse fan. He wore number 5 because Donovan McNabb wore number 5, the whole 9 yards. So there's a few pieces to that, right? Colgate is the lowest level opponent that Syracuse is going to face this season, the only FCS team on the schedule. It's a get-right game for Syracuse in the way that you have a chance to experiment here, right? Demetrius Samuel Jr. hasn't seen any snaps on offense. Fran already said that's something he's going to do this week. You have a chance to move some pieces around and experiment a little bit. At the same time, Curt Fitzpatrick, which Fran also acknowledged, being from the area, this is his homecoming. He just got this job. He spoke with Fran about joining the SU staff. He's going to want to prove something here, right? He's not just going to want to lay down and die. He's going to want to come in and try to win the game.
I honestly, it's this game should not be close. But with saying that, the game is not going to be close, hopefully, and then they have to go down to play Clemson. So, I mean, when you said experimenting with different players, they just need to do the bread and butter plays and get solid at those plays so they could have something going into Clemson. And, the running game didn't look good at all this past week. He threw a lot of yards for passing and stuff like that. Tackling was so-so. But, again, this game is, to me, it's called false daylight. Mm-hmm. They're going to go beat them up pretty good and then go down to Death Valley.
and you should
hope pretty dark down there.
It's going to be a lot different down there. So these kids are going to beat up all these smaller kids, then go down and play some grown men.
Yeah.
And I would like to say that, obviously it's Colgate, but we should hope that they beat up on them pretty good, right? Because something that I was kind of thinking about going into this game, Fran Brown has not had in his tenure here, even last year. Holy Cross was kind of ugly. They won, but UConn was a struggle. He has not had a distinct bona fide blowout yet. And that's what this Colgate game this week should be.
hopefully, let's all keep our fingers crossed.
Interesting. Because I will say this, to Colgate's credit, I mean, listen, yeah, the first game, I don't even know what you say about that. But in FCS, it says Monmouth number 22 and Villanova, who they just played, number 12. And that game, they lost 24-17. So teams that are ranked in the top 25 in the FCS, they are absolutely hanging and competing with. I understand that there is obviously a massive jump, but I would urge people to think cautiously about how to view this game, because I feel I would love to sit here and be like, it is a get right game, but with this team, I just don't know about that. I wouldn't feel so sure. I'd prep, man. I'd be ready.
No, 100%. You can't take this lightly at all, by no means. But what I would focus on the most is penalties, moving the ball up and down, good field position, doing the right things on the field. Just doing the correct things, and they should be able to accomplish that. If they don't be able to accomplish that, then again, they're going to be in some trouble.
Well, and I think you have to identify also that, right, like Colgate not being a Power 4 team, being an FCS team, they just don't or haven't to this point practiced quite the way that a Power 4 team does, right? They don't prepare that way. Now, when I went down there, because we cover them also, because they're an hour east of here in Hamilton, a couple weeks ago, and talked to like both Coach Fitz and some of the players at their camp, the players were saying that Fitz has brought in a new mentality, right? Like they're going live during the week, they're hitting, they're tackling, the shifts in physicality have really been palpable, all things that weren't happening there before, and obviously is what led them to have a coaching change after a few years of kind of irrelevancy in the Patriot League. But I think you have to identify it is a different playing field, right? It's not exactly the same level of play. At the same time, Fitzpatrick is going there and trying to make it look more like a Power 4 team.
And these kids from Colgate, they're going to come in here and give it all they got. I mean, this is their opportunity right here. If any
Another
opportunity
one.
they're
This is
going
their
to
Super
have,
Bowl.
this is their opportunity. They could surprise some people. So they're going to come out and play very hard, and we're going to have our hands full, but hopefully we could take care of them pretty easily.
Yeah, I think, do you guys, I don't know, what is something that you guys would like to see in this Colgate game, whether it is an X's and O's thing or it is something off the field that would make you feel just a little bit more comfortable going into the Clemson game?
Protect the quarterback. Protect the quarterback, because if they get, sack our quarterback or our quarterback's getting pressure, I mean, Clemson is going to just be salivating for that. I mean, they really are. So they got to protect the quarterback, and they got to tackle. They just got to tackle, stop all the high tackle. And I'd say another thing, too, as well, that it's all throughout college football, is that when players make great plays or good plays, make sure there's no penalties on the ground before you showing the first down or getting up excited and all that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in college football right now that I just really disagree with. And, when you're talking about effort, too, I mean, why do you have to work so hard if you have all this money in your pocket?
Yeah.
That's a whole conversation for another day.
Why do you have to work so hard if you have this money in
true.
your pocket? You got nice necklaces on, you got a nice car and all that. But are the kids really hungry? Well, no. We'll figure that out soon.
I mean, you can't act like that's not a factor a little bit here, I think, in some way. As far as like something, a kind of theme that I see with, people who played college football at the same time as you. I was going to say like people your age, but that felt like rude to say.
Derogatory.
Derogatory. No, but truly, I really feel like
Call me old? I mean,
no,
just to say it. I got broad shoulders. Just to say it.
Yeah, she was.
No. I'm calling you knowledgeable.
Okay.
I think that I'm calling you a vet. But really, I think that the biggest difference that I've found is it really felt like the will to win was much stronger. Do you feel that way?
I feel it's just motivation. I was motivated because I wanted to make it, and be able to buy these certain things and live a certain lifestyle. These kids now, I mean, they're living a good lifestyle in college. I mean, I didn't have a car in college, I had to walk on Marshall Street. I had to walk home from Marshall Street a couple times. But that's besides the point.
Thank you for that.
But again, the hunger, and maybe Fran is seeing that a little bit through, and maybe the coach is seeing that. You got to be hungry to play this game. And in order to be successful, you have to play good football. And Fran knows the recipe. Now the players just have to do it.
Yeah, it is a good point to point out, right, that like you had to work still for the money to come and the lifestyle to come. And we talk so much about NIL, but the lifestyle comes a few years earlier, right, for some of these players that are coming here and getting big NIL. I think circling back around to Colgate, I agree with you. Like the O-line is a big issue, protecting the quarterback. That's something you want to see. I also think just the basics, right? You just want to go out there, and it sounds so dumb, and I said it before, but I just want to see you have a dominant wire-to-wire, controlling both lines of scrimmage win. I don't want to go out there in the second quarter and have it be 10-7. And I feel like that's something we've seen in a few of these gimme games in the Fran era. I just want to see you win the game in a dominant fashion and not have all the rest of this garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, that's one thing I always say is just focus on yourself. Just Syracuse, focus on yourself. Don't focus on Colgate. Just focus on the X and O's, penalty-free football, no turnovers. Turnovers has been a big thing every single week for us. Little things like that's going to make a big difference. And now you have that going into the next game with the same mentality of just playing good football, no turnovers, protect the quarterback, and you live with that. You live with that routine, and you build off of it. Right now, I don't know if we're building right now. Right now, we're still trying to figure out where we're at and how to build to that. But Fran will get them right.
And I think, right, going into this game, some guys may rest. I think, like, guys that are banged up, like Devin Grant, the safety, Travion Mack, some of those guys might not be out there this week that are starters because they are resting for, like, a Clemson, a Duke getting into conference play. But the reality of the situation is if you're Syracuse, you have a significant size and skill advantage that you just need to take advantage of this week. I don't want to be sitting here next week and, they won by a touchdown. They were in it until the fourth quarter. I don't want that against a team like Colgate. Show me that you can go out there and you can dominate.
Do you want to coach this week?
Yes.
I'm feeling pretty inspired.
The cool thing about with anything I always do in my life is I always take something positive, something negative, and turn it into positive. And, in this situation, Fran had the guys run. So we may be the best conditioned team out there in college football when it's all said and done.
Seriously, people don't understand how long of a way that goes. I think I'll just say sort of what I think is the culmination of what you both said. If Fran said that the two things they have to work on is being more detailed and being accountable, the accountability, I think you just prove that in your day-to-day life. But you have an opportunity against a team like Colgate that is a weaker opponent to prove you are a detailed team. You can show that in the penalties. You can show that in running to the ball.
Yeah.
You can show that in doing the little things right. And we all know that ultimately the little things make the big things. Predictions quick, and then we'll get out of here.
I realized that we didn't have, which now this is kind of unfair because we're 2 games in, but we never had Mungro give a season prediction.
Yes, you're absolutely right. After the first two,
which is a little skewed now, probably.
I did not think we were going to beat Tennessee in the very beginning. I didn't think we were going to beat Tennessee. I thought we can keep it close. I did think we would beat UConn. So technically, I am 1-1 right now,
Which is what you thought should be.
That's what I thought it would be. After this week, I'll be 2-1.
Okay. Do you have an overall prediction? Season prediction? That's what I mean, like a record prediction.
I know what you meant. I was just trying to avoid that. Actually.
Okay, sure, right.
I don't want to speak negative about my team, my alumni, but
he's sort of elusive in his prediction picks.
It's going to be a long year. I feel like it's going to be a long year.
And perhaps we'll just leave it at that.
All right.
Yeah, that's.
Mungro likes to hold off in case they get better, so then he can change his
He
prediction.
likes to hedge his bets. He likes to hedge a little bit.
All right, so let's just go Colgate then. What do you think for Colgate? You want to start, Ashley?
Well, what I want to happen and what I think will happen are probably two different things. I'll go. I actually don't know what the line is on this game. I have not seen it.
I'll try and look
unsure at this time. I'll go 45-10.
Nice.
I was going to say, ironically, I was going to say in the 40 range as well. I'm not going to say 45, but in the 40 range. But I think Colgate's going to score a touchdown or two. So until I see Syracuse stop some people and make tackles, I would say like 40 something to 21.
Okay. I think if you're Syracuse, you want to score in the 40-something range because you got a few things to prove on offense. Like you got to prove you can score because against UConn you could not.
Yeah, I agree. We'll put it at 42 for you then. I'll go.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Just in case you're right.
You're going to take 43, right? Yeah.
No, I'll go high. I'll go 48, just so I don't say what either of you said. I'll go 48, and I do honestly think that Colgate could end up putting up some points, even if, who knows if I don't know. Fran Brown doesn't strike me as this kind of guy, but if Syracuse is putting in any backups or anything, you could see some Colgate scores there. So
I don't think we could do that, though. I really don't think that we could be playing with backups right now. We got to.
That's why I said probably not.
I think we'll have to
we
see
got
how
the starters to play good.
We'll see
We're
how
talking
that
about the
first half
backups.
goes.
Yeah. It's going to tell a lot, though, by the first, like you said, the first half is going to. This ain't no experimental putting. I mean, your starters are not playing good.
Yeah.
So you got to get your starters correct before you have your backups.
I'll go 48-13.
Okay.
Okay, everyone.
Very
Thanks
good.
so much for being here. Very good. This has been the Orange Zone Podcast, sponsored by Apex Entertainment. Be sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. We will see you back here next week for the Clemson preview.